Hi, I'm Dr. Paul Duignan. I'm an Outcomes and Evaluation expert, and this is a brief introduction to program logic models. Now, program logic models are a powerful way of communicating what it is we're doing in a program or an organization or an intervention of any type. And they simply set out all of the steps which we need to take in order to get through to higher level outcomes. These things are called by a number of different names: program logics, intervention logics, results maps, outcomes models, theories of change, program theories, strategy maps, etc. But all of them have in common the fact that they're just trying to represent what is happening in a program for stakeholders to understand that program and for program staff to work on the program. If drawn in the right way, these program logic models can be very useful for a range of purposes: for strategic planning, for prioritization, thinking about evaluation, thinking about monitoring, and thinking about outcomes-focused contracting and evidence-based practice. There are various ways of setting them out, and what I want to do is show you several of these ways of setting them out now, and I'm using DoYou outcomes and evaluation software in which I've modeled these up. One way which they're often set out is in a left to right approach, which on the left hand side we have here the inputs, and then we move through to activities, outputs, intermediate outcomes, outcomes, and final outcomes in the model. And they start off with things that are inputs to the program, activities, etc., right through to final outcomes. In this case, it's for a smoking program, and the highest level outcomes are reduction in illness and death and reduced smoking, and you can work back to the left-hand side of the model. Another way of setting the program out is to do a top-down or top-up model, which sets out at the top of the model the outcomes and at the bottom of the model the inputs. And you can see how the model, which I've just showed in the left to right version, here in the bottom to top version, just works through the different levels of steps and outcomes which lead through to the highest levels of the model. Another way is to approach them in a more free-form fashion, and we can see this here. And within DoView, it allows you to build modular models, which can be as big as you like. So this has the advantage of not having to limit ourselves to a single page. And here we've built one which takes us through, again, on smoking, program level, individual level, organizational level, regional, national level, and up to reduce smoking. I'll just look for a moment at the individual level within the model, and I've gone down to that sub-page. And here's a media campaign being designed, being run, change attitudes towards smoking, reduce smoking, and that's the individual level of the model. We can also build big models. For example, this one here is of a model for an entire transport system in a country. And as you can see, these models can become quite sophisticated and quite complex. And it's important to be able to break them down and view them in various ways which make them efficient to work with. And we can, if we're using something like DoView, to do that. This last model I want to show you is a poster version of the transport system model. And as you can see, this is designed to print out on paper, and it could be put on a wall for organizational staff to look at the outcomes which are being achieved by this particular organization. So program logic models or outcomes models and results maps, etc., are a really useful way of communicating what it is you're trying to do. And I hope that this brief introduction will give you some insight into how they can be used. I'd suggest that you look at the other videos in this series which look in more detail at how you can work with program logic models. And I have developed a set of 13 tips which you may be interested to look at, which help you build these models in a fashion which makes them useful for a range of purposes.